All right, so today we're going to talk about our back, okay, how to attack the back. We are going to do a submission. I'm just going to show the rear naked choke, but most of these videos are going to be based on control and positioning because we need to make sure we have the positioning before we go to the submission. So there's going to be quite a bit on this video, but let's start. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my teammates back. The back has three things: hooks, seatbelt, and ear to ear. Now, just for a rear naked choke, just for first technique, when my teammate's chin is up, we can talk about how to get it if the chin is down. We just go behind the ear. But for now, I'm going to snake my hand all the way around. Now, some people put their hand like this, and this is fine. The problem is sometimes people are really strong. They grab my hand, and then it's kind of hard to fit the rear naked choke in properly. It's I only get my fingertips. So I snake my hand around. So even if he grabs my arm, I can still open my arm or my hand. I can still open my hand and get a full bite on my bicep because that's what I want. I want it on my bicep. So I snake. My other hand goes behind the head. I don't show it. It goes behind the head. Now look at this hand that's snaked. I just flare it open and I connect deeper. Now to finish, people are going to be grabbing my arm here. People are going to be grabbing my arm here so they don't submit. Now he should be grabbing this one, but this one's already hidden behind his head. So as I go for the submit, if he hangs on my arm, if I try and just pull up, it's very hard. So if he's pulling down, it's hard for me to pull up. So I go always towards my choke arm. This is the choke arm, elbow. So the elbow, I always twist towards the choke arm, elbow for the submission, okay? And that's gonna be our rear naked choke. Now let's talk about how we maintain the back. All right, there's two ways he can go. My right, we'll call this the armpit side, okay, the hands under the armpit, and then the choke arm side. For our first drill, my teammate's gonna start to try and escape on the armpit side by turning his hip up. Whenever I sense this, let me back up for a second. At a certain level, it's okay, it's especially no-gi, you have to go seatbelt or really tight. But in gi, what I like to do is I like to get my grips already because now I can use them as a choke grip. I can always slide my hand in for palm to palm or rear naked choke. But if I have my hands like this and my teammate defends my hands, and I grab my hands, then it's kind of hard to start getting the lapels. So whenever I have the back, I like to just go for the lapel grip, armpit hand on, a choke hand on top. So now as he goes to escape, now hold on one sec. As he turns his hip up, if you notice my foot is gonna tend to fall off. So as he turns his hip up, I stretch my leg further out. And now the details. I pull on the collar with my top arm and my left foot goes on the knee. Now try to put your back on the mat. It cannot. See, if I just try and pull him from the thigh, it's not really much. You see his hips barely move. So I put my heel or my foot on the knee. Okay, so I pull, I push, and now look at my bottom foot. I turn my toes up and I drive, keeping my knees pinched off my heel to recover my back. But now he's on the other side, and then he does the same thing. He turns his hips up on the other side. Now, when he goes to the choke arm side, I'm gonna slam my leg, so watch your leg. I'm gonna throw my bottom leg that he got over behind him. At the same time, I throw my top leg over him. Never let your foot get cut in half guard. Over him. So let's just do that part one more time, a little faster on that side. So he goes towards the choke arm side. He starts to turn my foot up. Look, I threw my leg behind him. You see it's behind him now. And my top leg is in front of his hips. Now, how do I get up? My toes on the back side, I flex my toes. I look down. I can look down on him for leverage. And I drive off the toes. I drive to make him go face down and put my knee up. So you can see my knee is by his head. Now, when I regain the back, I don't roll. I go one hip, two hips. See how he's seated up? He can't put his back on the mat. Try to put your back on the mat. He can't. See, what happens is sometimes people go like this, and then they put their back on the mat. They start to slide like this. The person puts their back on the mat. They're too far up. So you have to go one hip, two hip. So one hip. Look, I sit him up, two hip. My shoulder behind the head's helping me, two hip. And then I get my back again. So let's just do this one more time really fast. He goes, I threw my leg over, I pull and I push at the knee, and I look at my toes. I turn my toes up and I drive to put my hook in. He goes on the other side. I throw my bottom leg behind, my top foot is already over his stomach, and I drive off my toes. See, I drive to bring my knee up, and then I go 1 hip, 2 hip, and I get my back, okay? And we just drill that as a sequence over and over. Then at the end, what we did, when I was coming back around on that second option, is my left leg caught his arm. So as I went back, look at my top leg, catches his arm at the crooks of the elbow. Don't just try and throw it over, it's not gonna work. At the crooks of the elbow, I peeled it back, and the top of my foot goes on his back. So if you can circle around here, my toes turn down, and the top of my foot is on his back. And we just drilled that over and over. And of course, I'm pinching my knees here. We just drilled that over and over until we got that down. Here now we can hit our chokes, we can hit our arm bars, all the submissions we want from the back.